There have been calls for Malaysia to introduce a fixed-term Parliament Act to prevent political instability. Ilham Centre research fellow Mujibu Abd Muis shares whether this could be a positive step towards strengthening parliamentary democracy.
Generally, if we're talking about the effectiveness of this thing to reduce political stability in Malaysia, we need to look on the ideas of political instability by depending on various factors, especially when we are talking about predictability, political continuity, and of course the prevention of snap elections. But in the broader political and institutional context, we need to look also on the constitutional framework, the institutional stability, and of course our political culture, in which we need to look at the willingness of political actors, how much they abide to the rules and norms for the establishments for the fixed-term parliamentary act.
Mujibu outlines several factors that need to be considered when drafting a law on fixed-term parliaments.
Things that need to be considered is the fixed term itself, whether the legislation will specify a fixed term for each parliamentary term, in which in other country the fixed term is always considered as 4 years or one term, which is in our country it is depend on the discretion of the Prime Minister whether they want to call an early election, snap election, so on and so forth. And number two, of course, we need to look at the role of Yang di-Pertuan Agong, because such legislation need to define the role of Yang di-Pertuan Agong in the dissolution process, because it might outline the circumstances under which the king could exercise the discretion, and such as when the Prime Minister advised dissolutions of the parliament, or maybe in certain stages where the events of no confidence motion will table to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister need to call for an early election to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Number three, I would like to see that the no confidence mechanism itself, whether the act will need to address the situation where a vote of no confidence is passed against the government, whether this could trigger the early election or allow the formation of new government without dissolving the parliament. Because when you call about a fixed term election, this question will arise whether this is applied to the newly established law or not.